Seems like C9 got a copy of the SEN playbook because they read them clean as they dominate them on their map pick of Lotus. Sentinels, unfortunately for them, down 1-0. Fortunate for Cloud9, though, as it's all smiles in the C9 camp as they get ready for map number 2 and a potential 2-0 sweep. Welcome back, everyone. Golden Boy here alongside with Mimi and Sean Gares. And Sean, me already just diving into it, it just truly felt as if Cloud9, they were emailed a copy of Sentinel's playbook by mistake and was like, oh, this is what you're going to do, and then just did it. Like, they read them so beautifully.
I've never seen anything like that. On the attack side of Lotus, Sentinels just won the pistol, the eco, and the bonus. And they were about to rack up like 9 rounds, but that was all they got. I have never seen a team just get dominated so hard on the attack side of Lotus.
And in a way, because see, we obviously had the 13-0 from EG, and that was a dominating half, but that was different.
Yeah.
This one just felt like they were just outplayed. Everything that they could do, Mimi, was just figured out.
The defensive side of macro from Cloud9, I think, is like the best of any team on this map, besides maybe Foot, who also plays this Neon comp. The way that Leaf and Zeppa re-clear space with Zeppa's utility, it's so mobile. You'll see Zeppa flashing on A. He's instantly running towards C, flashes that side, and the Neon's constantly pivoting off of that. So every time Sen is going for one of these late round hits, C9 has the correct stack.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when those hits were coming through, they were so good at using their utility to stall out with those Neon stuns, with the Killjoy mollies, with the Viper mollies. It never felt like Sentinels could get ahead in terms of a read, in terms of getting a site that was even light.
Yeah, and also one of the things that helped him out a lot was a person that we're contractually obligated to mention. That is Leaf, because Leaf came in again and killed it. I mean, I was excited to just see him on this Neon. I know it's something that he likes to do, and it's for reasons like this. The guy could just kind of charge in whenever and then seemingly get a kill out of nowhere. The man's insane.
No, dear God, we're seeing a lot of these like flood retakey type of scenarios, but also they had him in the openers, right? At Mound, at front B. And like Mimi was saying, he would just follow the info that Zeppa was grabbing from these guiding lights. Zeppa was flashing over Waterfall to get info at Mound. And if there was no info, Leaf rotates A. If there was info, he stays C. And that's when those stuns were getting giga value.
Yeah, even when Sentinels could get into sites, they were getting sectioned off by those stuns, or they would have to wait, going at 10 seconds. And that meant that C9 could either commit to fighting on the site with the stall that Leaf provided, or just play these flood retakes, which they were also incredible at. And beyond just the value he was providing to this team in the stall, at the macro level with his rotations, he was also just farming. He's like the one Neon player I watch, it's like, I don't think I've ever seen him int. I've never seen him overheat on that roll. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really feels like C9 are just some farmers and Sentinels are cattle, and they're just herding them in, you know, to just get slaughtered. That's a dark image. But seriously, it has not been pretty for Sentinels, and now they're and the problem is as well, Sean, is that it's not even just like on the stats. It's just the way that they play the game. It's the way that they control it. I mean, even in this one right here, you think there's an opportunity here, but here comes Leaf. He just charges right in, gets a kill, and that's the go button.
They do so many things at an incredibly high level, Golden Boy. I don't get it. They're such a new team, and you would think,
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. You would think you would see Leaf on Jet here, and that would make a little more sense. Or you know, like Harbor Viper. They're doing it their own way. They create their own comps, and from map to map, sometimes there's not much overlap. They're just great on both of the maps with completely different agent pools. That's how good this team looks right now.
It seems like MC has just like whiplashed this team. Like, just instantly, they've been put into shape. He does not tolerate anything going wrong in this squad, because the structure and the coordination they've put together in such little time, it's impressive. Look at these retakes. Even in these chaotic situations, the comms are clearly in a position where every player understands how to group up. Versus that Viper spin, they see the gap on the left side. All 4 are pushing through and grouping, find that one weak point, and exploit it instantly. The reactions from Cloud9 are so incredibly fast on that defensive side. I mean, that's just an amazing game out of them.
Yeah.
13-3, that's absurd.
It's when a team is truly at their finest, it's when they thrive in controlled chaos. And that is exactly what C9 does there with those retakes. They throw your opponents for a loop, and then after that, they already took the site and they won a round. And that's the reason why they went up an absurd amount in that Lotus game. But let's go ahead, though, and move on as we take a look, though, at our aim lab shoot around. You already know what we're going to do here. We're going to hang out with the Iceman. It's Marved, as he's going to be clicking some heads. But we have bat-chested enough for C9 as it is. Let's now hone in on Sentinels. Mimi, what's going on?
I mean, they're just getting out called on the attacking side. It didn't feel like they were ever able to get ahead on the information game. They were never able to find that site that was weaker, because I think part of it was they were playing this super slow style, trying to play around the mid-round, but they just haven't had as much time as Cloud9. The structure, the protocols aren't there. Someone will get caught by a guiding light, and they're still committing into the site when the stack is already rotated over. Cloud9 is just so rapid in their pivots that it just looked impossible for Sen to call against.
Yeah, it looked like Cloud9 was just, they had a gear, a speed that they were playing at that Sentinels was not ready to match on that particular map. And they might not look as prepared on Fracture. Zekken was 0-7 on opening duels on the Raze right there. And that's not his fault. Like Mimi's saying, he was going into stacks. He went into that C mount push early on. The floods were insane. They had reactive Viper pits going on the C site at the last second. That half was just cursed for Cloud9. Or I'm sorry, for Sentinels.
Blessed for Cloud9.
Blessed for Cloud9. They could do no wrong, actually, after the third round. So I think finding openings for Zekken on this Fracture map, it'll be a little bit easier than Lotus, right? You can control a little bit more of the pace here on Fracture, and I looked for him to actually get back on page.
I'm looking at him as well, but for Sentinels, they won this map last week versus MIBR dominantly. But as we saw in the tweet earlier from Kaplan, they were pugging it then. It didn't look like they had a super good set game plan. Instead, it was just good coordination between the players that win them out. And we also still saw some solid coordination from Sen in that first map, but it just wasn't there at the macro level. And for C9, this is another map that they're so incredibly strong at.
I'm worried because I think what we're going to see out of Sentinels is the same comp we saw last week. And while they did look good, Mimi, I think they looked so good on Fracture last week. Clearly, we see what MC can do when he has some VOD footage going for him. And I don't think Sentinels might have envisioned this pick happening today. So I doubt there's too much they changed in this week. I'm worried for them. I mean, the anti-shrine from Cloud9 might be incredible based on what we just saw.
I'm so worried. And we talked about how good this duo of Leaf and Zeppa was on the defensive side.
Yeah.
They're fantastic here as well. The roles are going to be reversed. It'll be Leaf on the Sky, Zeppa on the Raze, but they're just as good at being proactive in the mid-round, finding information. If Sentinels is leaving those same gaps, they will be punished again by Cloud9.
Yeah, well, this is it. Do or die for Sentinels here. They got to force this map 3. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters who have never, ever cursed a team with their predictions before. Isn't that right, Brennan Sideshow?
He's talking about you.
I mean,
he's talking about you, by the way.
I thought Cloud9 were going to win this game.
Okay.
But to be fair, I didn't think Cloud9 were going to win all the previous games that they won, and I decided at this point they have solidified their position as a top team and as the favorite in a matchup like this. And what a ridiculous situation that is. I feel like I've got whiplash every time I watch this Cloud9 squad.
They are paving their way.
Their ascension up the standings is ridiculous. And they're fighting, I mean, at the moment, they're in the second seed in our standings. But if they just come out and dominantly win this match, there's no argument. It's Loud and Cloud9.
As we've been mentioning as well, final North American team for Cloud9 to take out is Sentinels. Last one standings to really submit that dominance across all other squads that are going to be in that split. So here we see it. Contacting up. Fight's going to be taken very early on. And, well, player quality might be matched pound for pound, but the coordination of Cloud9 is just that much better.
I have this fight.
So effective. Posting up onto the angles, making sure that they cover for each other, and the fire's there. And Zekken and Pankata are the last two players standing.
God, the way that they peek that, it's beautiful. Sentinel's not using any utility because they just want to contact in. That's exactly where Cloud9 were exploring too. The way that Rooney grabs one and falls off of fault lines, they just know what their role is so well. And like Sean, I'm a bit befuddled how quickly they've got this together.
Yeah.
Can Zekken and Pankata do anything here to pull this back? A 2v5. Pankata's trying not to get into the turret sight line because he's got a lot of space. He's just trying to hold it and wait for Zekken. Now Zekken comes along, he breaks the turret, sets up his own. They're going to try to get a plant down.
It's done. Push them back and away. Cloud9. They don't flood in entirely. They just break the util and push back that to buy time for the rest of their team now. Start to get into position. Spike going to be planted. An opportunity granted, but with the smoke cutting off one of those angles towards halls.
Nobody
this
peeking
is so
together.
hard. Yeah,
perfectly disciplined.
Pankata is holding for the wider swing there towards the top, but They are just being ripped to shreds.
That is a 5v2 situation where they allow Sentinels to get the plant down, to get back into post plants, and then they triple face through a link, get a drop, have one sand. I mean, there's no individual player who's not in sync with the rest of the squad.
No one overstepping themselves.
And
no crumbs, just...
No. I mean, Sentinels really not giving a crumb.
Cloud9 winning that pistol round. What I wanted to see from this Fracture map, in particular, is the next evolution, I think, of this Sentinels roster, at least this iteration of it, because they've mentioned
on that noggin.
in the past, I believe it was in a tweet from Kaplan, actually, that it was largely pugging, just kind of, devs calling on the fly when they played Fracture against MIBR. There was nothing preset in terms of how they were playing it. But I think against a team like Cloud9, where they have a really good idea of how to take fights together, the macro ideas are nice, the adaptations are good, you need a bit more. That's a good opening, though. Sassy doesn't immediately retreat and go across the ropes. Still holds his ground, still locks down that position.
He would love to give a little more info to the rest of his team.
Done.
Now as the stun comes through,
Surely
he
get
should
on
be
the ropes.
open.
Yeah, no, goes down. Taken out.
Perhaps wouldn't have had the time anyway, to be honest. But the rest of Sentinels were looking like they wanted to re-clear underneath tunnel. And now, yeah, gonna commit to it. Gonna re-clear out Arcade as Pancada just holds that spot at tree. The weaponry's not good. We've seen Cloud9 win a lot of ecos, not so much Sentinels.
It's a 4-on-4. All it takes is a couple of shots to find that mark. Yet, wow, lined them all up and beaming them all down. They don't stand a chance. Jake's handed the most picture-perfect timing in the world.
Yeah, Brimstone's a stubborn ass.
Built some results as well.
Even then, it's not an info peak. He was swinging that one and took the fight and then re-swung. I mean, their game plan in the round was actually to give Jake the orbs. And then he just got 3 kills towards the end. So he's going to be... I can't tell whether he's got his orbital strike online.
He does, yeah, he's got it.
Right,
yeah.
He's already got his ult online for round 3. So that's going to be incredible plant denial. If Sentinels get close, how do they actually get the plant stuck?
Cloud9 could look to formulate something on this bonus round.
It's the same plan every round here, over towards Arcade. Zeppa, Rooney, and Jake slow pushing towards Arcade, all holding angles for each other, grabbing information. The thing is, Sen don't realize that that just happened, so it's not something that they can really abuse.
Maybe Cloud9 have done their homework yet again. You know, they came prepped from that Lotus game, the way they were playing. And for Sen, I mean, there is footage, recent footage at that, on how they've been playing. A fight might be taken, though, here. Towards the door, Boombot, opening up wide. Sassy does hold down the one angle. Still Leaf wants to really take the fight to them. Another deep flash with the stinger. Not really too favored in a long-range engagement. Yet Zeppa, he picks up the pieces towards the end. All that damage done. Flash as well, aftershock. Pushing them back, but guess what? Jake on the flank. Def slight adjustment to the movement there. Over the strike. As Jake thought he was going to be pushed and punished there. Pushed back. Marv does clean up that one kill still. Whoa! My goodness, meeting him face and face, and the spike's been dropped down. 25 seconds left. Pancada with a rifle against the world. I mean, it's just impossible. Doesn't have the time to reclaim it. Has to save the gun into the next. And Cloud9, they walk away from this bonus round.
10 seconds
left. All the more richer. 3 more rifles to be gained, looking to steadily cement that lead.
That situation was like Leaf ordered next day delivery on the spike. It just, the delivery driver just came zipping over the rope and handed it to him.
Dropped right into his lap.
Just a ridiculous situation, but also Jake's flank there through tree. If he goes down, Pancada had already lurked into B. So that duel that Jake took, he had to be able to get one and survive for long enough to force Marv away. Otherwise, there was still a chance for Sentinels to win that. But I'm so impressed with how active Cloud9 are. First 20 seconds, they push out Arcade. Then they go round to re-clear halls, find Sentinels, take the fight, win the fight. They're so active, and they win another round where their economy is worse than their opponent. It just looks dominant. This is going to be an amazing start to the map.
And they've got such a good read on all of this. Footsteps are being heard. It's a contact re-clear towards Arcade from Cloud9. All the space being taken. Yeah, same thing again. Clearing the close corners, fight. Still wider swing there, Marv out in the open. No one else to help him, and they've lined them all up. Zepper drops them all down. 4 kills. 1 player left standing, all towards the south side of the map. That's Pancada. Desperate to not give anything away.
And they're running for him.
They're running for him. Are they going to skip and hop? Are they going to jump around the corner? They're going to deny him this one. They want to give the ace surely. No, taking it away. Listen, it's the percentage play. You can boo it. Why not? But
it is more
Zepper,
optimal.
he had his ult already. We'll defend it. He already had it. He didn't need the kill. Would have been nice for the clip, though.
It's very true. That is, I mean, the breach utility coming through from Rooney is perfect. It might look like Zeppa's fighting on his own there when he could wait for his teammates, but he's supported so perfectly by the breach util. Cloud9 are just playing a masterful game, and come on, they're doing the same thing again at Arcade. Surely Sentinels have got the read right now. Surely they just go fast tree.
It's fully grouped up. All 5 of them onto B main.
This time, Rooney does not follow the rest of the squad out Arcade. This time, Rooney goes towards Generator, a spot where he can still provide utility for his team, whilst potentially cutting this off.
No way. No way. He's just spamming down on the angle. I mean, the Trace has given away his position. It's the 1-for-1. Plant now starting to go down. Any sort of disruption? Not quite. Players aren't quite in position. Now the Seekers to try and push them back here. Jake needs to stay alive. Nade rebounded. 10 health. Doesn't rebound deep enough. He's still alive. Stimmy now. Dropped. And another nade as well to push back that angle. Zekken can't take the fight, can't afford to do it. Now the showstopper, unleashed, doubled up, taking the fights, dropped down into the choke, Marved to line up across the map, but he's the last one left. He's got to try and deny this long enough, and it's already half. Spraying, beaming, drops him, but it is half on the defuse already, and he needs to stay alive for any chance of winning this round. Smoke in his face, 7 HP, drop down, jumping around the corner. The shorty finishes it.
Sorry to spoil the party.
Great try by Marv, but it's just too good from Cloud9 again. They're only using 1 defensive setup. They are only using 1 defensive setup. This team probably has, I don't know, 4, 5, something like that in terms of ways that they can rotate people around and push in different areas. Fracture, you normally see so much variety from these defending teams. And Cloud9 are 5-0 by doing the same thing in every round and just reacting to what Sentinels do perfectly.
Timeout has to be taken here by Sentinels. Necessary. You're 5 rounds down as it stands. And there needs to be adjustments, because honestly, I think that Cloud9 have done more than their homework here as well. Sentinels, when they play Fracture previously against MIBR, they did a lot of the 2-2 splits towards one area of the map. Pancada late lurks on the other side, alone, as a singular player. And right now, all Cloud9 have been doing, like you said, Josh, over and over again, is that triple push out towards Arcade. And I think the reason is because they know that worst case scenario, they're fighting 2 players in a 2-2 split towards the north side. Best case scenario, they catch Pancada alone.
They're also just getting a ton of information, right? Half the time they're clearing Arcade and there's a reaction somewhere else that they can respond to, and they've got really good flanks for a retake. And then sometimes they're going back towards B. And listen, if they have to play a B retake, well, then they control Arcade.
Exactly, control Arcade, control Spawn.
Yeah. So, I mean, this has just been a perfected match from Cloud9. So far, 9-0 in terms of gun rounds. They're winning like 75% of their 4v5s. There's just nothing going wrong. It's just excellent.
But maybe an advantage can be found here for Sentinels. You look at those ultimates, building them up.
But I do want to point out, Cloud9 are doing something differently now. The first time Sentinels exposed the gap and went towards tree, now Cloud9 are showing their next setup. So it's not that they don't have more defensive holds, obviously.
Using utility. I mean,
they're just walking.
They're just taking the fight. I don't know if Rooney's holding the stun when they're going up onto that angle, but they're just walking onto the fight, walking onto the angle. It's like they're just aware that there's not going to be too much resistance. Still, now the Rolling Thunder. This is where the ults might come into play. Showstopper as well, but, well, Pancada, he's been dealt with. And that's got to be a hard read. You've got to know that he was probably alone in that position. There wasn't a follow-up. And all that space being vacuumed up, taken. In the blink of an eye, 3 of the players moving forwards now. Flash as well, Satchel, deeper. Taking the angles, taking the fight. Sen have to take some risks and have to take some fights, and they will indeed. Orbital strike splits it up. But yes, still not winning the fights here. Smoked off now. Down to just 2 players left standing, and Death needs to be the difference maker, because inside the smoke, Marv, a timing was attempted, but it's all being watched for. There are no gaps at all in the play from Cloud9 right now. Everything is being watched.
Yeah, nothing that Sentinels can find. Nothing that Sentinels' playstyle is exposing. I just want to point out as well, Pancada's having an absolute nightmare of a day today. You think about what's happened to him, right, in this game overall. I mean, he's just getting bullied right there. And then on the prior map, he has a player fresh out of tier 2 stick the defuse against him, and he gets detained in the final round.
Yeah, it's not going well.
I mean, I know that this guy has championship experience, obviously. He's been at that level before, but even for a player of his caliber, it's got to be tough to keep your cool in these kind of moments. You just know that you're being outclassed. Oh my God, what a contact.
We're just going to contact into each other again, and yeah, Rudy was holding the stun for at the fault line.
Beacon here.
Just a 1-for-1 though. It's traded.
So this is very different. Now Sentinels actually have some space, some room to work with.
That's a good prowler as well, actually, as Jake was trying to do. What? Rudy? He just swings main.
That's crazy. They didn't expect him to be there. They thought he'd be playing Jenny again.
That was out his teammate. And oh my goodness, all the space as well. That was a deep push through A main while all that was happening.
My ultimate is ready.
No stone unturned. Pancada, 45 health. Maybe he can salvage it. A bit of indication. He's found the first 2, but the job's not finished. Spike, really unfavorable. Just under a minute left to work with. Has the lockdown, but does he choose to invest it? Might just opt into taking the fight, but he knows he's got to be going up against at least a decent crossfire setup. It's a 3-2-1 and a swing from that. Cloud9 are too damn clean.
I think you're watching the end of the honeymoon period for Sentinels. You know, this week, I was hoping that Sen would have shown us some improved level of coordination, and frankly, I don't think Cloud9 is the opponent to do it against, because they're just getting absolutely outclassed.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe when Sentinels play some of their later games, we'll see some of that improvement from the pugging towards more of a refined strategy that is going to help Sentinels get to playoffs and win in the long term.
Shoot them a little bit of bail as well. It's short notice that they're working with this roster. It takes a while to build up those game plans, to build up the layers to different maps as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say Cloud9 are ridiculous for getting so refined in such a short time, whilst also expecting the same from Sentinels.
No,
if it's crazy that Cloud9 did it, that means it's not the norm.
But also Cloud9 have had a few more weeks with this roster.
They have indeed, yeah. But even in a few weeks, you wouldn't expect Cloud9 to be at this level.
No.
So you shouldn't just put the same expectation on everybody else. But my point being, Brent, that Sentinels' upcoming games are against EG, Crew, then Furia. That's a number of weeks from now. So I was hoping we might see some good signs from Sen in this game, but it looks like you're going to have to be waiting for the EG Crew games, to be honest, to see that level of refinement. And to be honest, the way that Sentinels have been playing prior to this match, they might just be able to skill it through those games too. So
they might be able to, yeah. I mean, they've got the firepower, we know that.
It's going to be weird watching Sentinels for the next few weeks. And I think it's going to be weird for them internally and from the management side as well. Because the management seemed comfortable, you know, making fairly dramatic moves fairly quickly. I mean, if you were going to react to any game, a 13-4 loss and then a 7-0 start, there's going to be people reacting to this.
Yeah, I mean, the Sentinels fans as well would react to, I think, a strong gust of wind sometimes. I mean, it doesn't take much to set them off, but
I think this is more just absolute dominance from Cloud9.
It is. I mean, you've got to sing the praises of this squad, because they are just looking picture perfect. Now Sentinels grouping up. 4 players to try and fight them over towards tower. Prowler, Satchel, rolling Thunderdome. It's mating them. Stunned up. They're all grouped up. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Line them up.
Would you like another orbital strike, sir?
Yep, just setting up, man. I mean, it's like I'm watching Wii bowling. They all just got collected and knocked down. That is just ridiculous.
What an amazing replay angle for that. God. This really is a bit booming, I think, for the Sentinels players. They'll be in a tough spot mentally at the end of this game. Hopefully they can just shake it off.
Takes a lot to bounce back from something like this, though.
I know that Sean and Barlow were talking about, especially Sean was talking about, like, when you get in a situation like this, you can just sometimes brush it off. It's not a heartbreaking overtime loss. The players are just like, okay, we got outplayed. Leafs picked up an operator and dropped a rifle for himself.
That's an orbital strike he's holding. Where's he using that for?
I mean, who knows? I think it's probably off the turret contact. I think they're going to melt Pancada.
This is so bizarre. Where is this going to be going?
Pancada's going to get turned into soup, mate. Look at this.
Is it really off the target? I mean, meanwhile, while this is happening, by the way, Leaf is just alone, taking luxuries around the map. He had an operator, of course. He's built up the bank enough that he can afford it. Got a rifle
Turret
pushing
contact.
out. There it is. Turret contact. Orbital strike. Doesn't stand a chance. Melted into nothing. Evaporated. Whatever you want to call it.
God. I mean, the fact that, listen, if I'm Cloud9, I'm not even showing that setup in this game because you don't have to.
No. I mean,
but they're flexing on him at this point.
flexing, yeah.
They could be running the same stuff and still creaming Sentinels, and they're pulling out new things. It's quite nice for us as fans because you get to see the depth of it, right?
yeah, the desk is got a
30
lot to pull
seconds
from.
left.
Yeah. But
Although if it is a 12-0, I mean, I'll be feeling sorry for them. They'll be doing a halftime straight into a post-match, so.
But
be rough.
this is perfection.
Yeah, that's clean. Flawless.
Are we going to see a 13-0, Brent?
Again?
Another 13-0? Oof. I don't think so. I don't think so.
At some point, especially with Cloud9 starting to take those liberties, you can see Leaf as well. I mean, he was hopping on the angle. He pushed deep towards Arcade by himself. At some point, some part of this is going to go wrong. And there will be an opening, but it's just about Sentinels grasping it.
4 more chances.
Right there.
Lots of ults online. Potential's there. Maybe if you are Sentinels, you keep it simple now. You've got a lockdown. Straight for the B push, but there we go. Stun supplemented. There's going to be double satchel. And it is dealt with, but starting to see that squeeze now from the backside of things. Marved. Okay, no. I mean, wow.
Ridiculous!
Marv tries to get back onto the line when he hears them retreating. It's a noise bait. Leaf was holding for the repush.
That is ridiculous, the way that Cloud9 just recognized the threat that's there. I know that they flash through, so they know there's somebody in that area, but recognizing that it's a stack, they're just reading the game so well. Absolutely downloaded SEN. How have they anti-stratted a team that doesn't have strats themselves that much?
Yeah, I don't know. The layers aren't there, but...
No, but I'm serious. Like,
it is
this
crazy.
Sentinels team is talking about pugging it. That means that you don't have really strict protocols and strats to read into. They obviously have, like, bare bones ideas that they're going off and really smart players that are putting stuff together, but normally the more structured a team is, the more you can anticipate their reactions to everything. And yet, Cloud9 are reading every decision.
Interesting lockdown.
They found the lurker.
Yeah, I mean,
30 seconds left.
Jake this entire time was jiggling that angle, just anticipating it. And as they vacate the premises, with the lockdown going down, it's a swing, masterfully timed.
You could frame this game. MCE and Cupid, the coaches of Cloud9, should frame this game and put it up in the Cloud9 offices. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a work of art. And there's a player, there's a person, I say player because he's actually the 6th player for Cloud9, but there's a person, a coach, that we don't give enough credit to, Cupid, who comes up with a lot of their comps and their ideas with
wait a
MCE.
second.
Oh, we're going to see the
This
Fnatic
is the
play.
Fnatic play.
Here it is, the C's over the top. There's nobody
He's on the top, yeah, but nobody is there. And so...
Oh no, that's the horn.
Oh, it's a
That's not
horn,
the C's.
okay. Just to try and spot it.
It's supposed to land on the top of the building.
Will it matter though? Because Jules being taken, fights being won. For Cloud9 yet again. Death, 4 HP in a dream, just lets loose the Rolling Thunder. Pushes them away, lockdown as well, and it feels like at this point there's no semblance of an idea of how they're using these ults.
Well, they have actually gotten a lot of space in order to plant the spike, so I think that ult combo is pretty fine. But you have to hold off Zeppa. He's coming around behind with a showstopper, and this is going to be able to make so much space. Pancada's holding it with an op. He's got to hit this shot. He's got to.
And he does indeed, straight to the brain. Picks up the rifle. Now to try and contain. Here we can see the flood. An attempt by Cloud9, pushing forward. Sassy with the first fight taken. A quick reset. Tap it, okay. Let it be known. No one wins 11 rounds in a row against Sentinels.
Last round before the switch.
We are not seeing a 13-0 today.
Okay.
They've saved themselves. I could see another Coach Kaplan video. I could see a Coach Drew
you
Sparks
see it?
video.
Oh, God, don't say that.
No, I think... I really don't think Sentinels are playing a terrible game here. I think Cloud9 are just completely in their heads, dismantling them. I really think this level of dominance, it just proves to me that the top 2 in Americas is loud Cloud9. I mean, there is no other team that's had this amount of consistency.
And you see it.
The other teams that are up there fighting, Furia, Leviathan, they've been a bit wobbly in certain weeks. And Cloud9 have beaten Furia. Leviathan have lost a couple games here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it is rock solid. Practically granite at this point in terms of Cloud9 having that just foothold. The top of the standings. I mean, you can see it as well. You know, the pre-show segment that we were doing today with the power rankings, Cloud9.
Yep.
Every 2 weeks going up and up and up and up.
Bring them down.
Yeah, the ascension has just been incredible of this squad. Zeppa's got an op watching towards Arcade. Here as Sentinels group up looking for their second round. Big ults to be able to take the site. It should be tough for Cloud9 to hold on.
But, I mean,
they've stacked in the right spot.
Sassy's dumping his util into Hall to try and fake like they're going towards A, but no one on Cloud9 is budging. Showstopper to the side, second. I mean, he's looking for something there towards Canteen, expecting a player to be holding. No one's looking to the side. Sassy, he does return the fire, brings it down. Rooney still alive, body blocked for about a moment. Operator in the hands of Zeppa. It makes the retake a little bit awkward. Celsius swinging wide. He's brought down 3-on-3. Spike's still not planted, though. And time is running short. No attempt to be made. Flick to the side, though. An adjustment from Zeppa. His target is found. And the play is weak enough here with Sassy and Def. Got to play together. Got to play well. Nade pushing them back. Satchel as well in case someone's close. They are just converging. It's a pincer play as well through main together, taking their time with it because that's it. That's all you got to do. So well drilled. 11 rounds secured.
Everybody on Cloud9 should be ecstatic about how they're playing today. It just looks amazing. Every part of it.
Absolutely ridiculous stuff. I mean, 11-2-1. Seeing the final moments of this one play out.
Zekken's also having a nightmare. The deaths were talking about it on map 1, how many first deaths he had. He's currently sat at 1-12. He's just been getting brutalized. He's supposed to be the tip of the spear for Sentinels, and Cloud9 have snapped the tip completely off.
Well, that's going to do it for the first half here, at least. Mimi is standing down at the telestrator wall to break down what we've seen so far.
Yeah, this Cloud9 team looking pretty good, I think. And one thing that they've been consistently really good at is the way that they play around flanks and the structure when they go for retakes in the late round. I want to look at this round. It was right out of Sentinel's first time out in that half. And you'll notice for the first time, this is going to be a bit of a change of setup for Cloud9. Normally, they've been going for this heavy fight towards north side. Here, they're immediately ready to instead push through south. They make the read that this is going to just be a hit of the A site for the side of Sentinels. And that's exactly what they're doing. They have the breach ult in hand, and as I pause this for a second, you'll see that on the setup, it's going to be a breach ult that's actually taking towards spawn. And C9, very ready for that. Everyone is playing offsite, ready to retake as this flank is starting to come through. They're just going to rely on these killjoy mollies on site to stall things out a bit here. Sentinels, it'll be no problem for them to get into the site on this one as C9 start this push on the flank. The first kill's just a basic kill, and you'd expect most teams off of getting that early advantage to start to go really fast, to rush their way into this retake. But they realize that Cloud9, hey, we got plenty of time, and they keep the structure up. They keep playing slow. They dog back through to clear this space. They get their Killjoy players set up in tower, and these players aren't going to push all the way through into main. Instead, they're going to pinch with their teammates to crunch on this space because they realize that Sentinels have very little map control right now, and they're likely going to try and make a play in the post plant, which is very much punishable. As they go through on this one, Zepp is going to immediately swing main. That'll prompt this reaction towards Sands, and Cloud9 is perfectly ready for this one. They have a crossfire with the player towards heaven, and they trade things out 1 for 1. And here again, Cloud9 are not overheating this one. They're not going too fast on this retake. They're continuing to pinch through with the players coming through from spawn, the 2 from main, and the crossfires they set up in the mid round are perfect. The trading for the rest of this one is going to be excellent out of Cloud9, and they close that one out easy peasy. 11-1 at the half with retakes like that one. We'll see how quickly they can close this one out in the second. Back with Brennan Scheicher.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mimi. I mean, it's from top to bottom, how much more can we really sing the praises of this Cloud9 squad? They are doing everything right by the book. And now we're getting things started here. The pistol round of the second half for Cloud9, looking to try and close this one out in a nice and clean fashion. Couldn't quite grasp that 13-0, but maybe they can make it 13-1.
Little trap play here. Looks very good. Fault line off contact.
This could boom them.
Wait, who's holding
Grabbing
contact,
the orb.
though? Where?
Surely off the orb here, you let loose the stun. Yes, you do. Players letting rip here. Tapping a ghost. Maybe you can find a target. Sassy! Damage is done. But Jake survives. Still in the fight with 16 health. Boombot spotted. They do spot out Leaf's position. Spike, though, still in the hands of a few of them, so they're going to start rummaging and running all the way through into the other section of the site. There will be a player to meet them. It's Def, but he is low on 10 health. Dropping down now. It's going to be known what sort of timing gets taken moving forwards. Fight, swarming the position, straight onto it. Rooney left alive, but there we go. Shots landed from the frenzy. Mark with 3 to clean it up, and so the pistol round going Sentinel's way.
I wonder if Sentinels can win this game.
You're looking at me. Okay, yeah, I mean...
No,
you want to start threading that narrative?
No, I really don't. I really don't. No, that's a nice pistol round. I mean, the way that they set it up there, trap play off the ult orb being picked up, it's pretty cool. They committed 3 players over to that. They had a high-low setup, 1 in tower, 1 tucked behind the box, and a fault line ready to go. It's good. It's well played by Sen.
Let's take a bit more.
Don't overthink it.
They haven't been
That's
lacking
my
for
job.
good ideas. I've actually liked some of their approaches. On Lotus, I felt like they were playing the macro fairly well. They just couldn't find an answer to what Cloud9 were doing.
Now, chance for Cloud9 to add another one to the 50-round conversion, but okay, well, Celsius stopped in his tracks. He was trying to take that wider peak angle, but...
Only with a classic, though. The
Yeah.
real danger tends to come from Jake and Rooney's Sheriffs, and then Leaf and Zleppa swarming people with stingers and the like.
Shots are rattled, the jump spot. Weak enough, though. Def will go down to that single bullet. But it should still be safe for Sen here. Pushing back up onto the angle. Oh, as I say that, potentially cursing it, but they are good in these scenarios. They've opened up the site from that. Orb's also being secured as well. Just percentage play, making sure that they can maximize that, try and get the ults online for later. With a plan as well. Leaf steadily building up to it. He's now 2 away. Second's got the position here. Leaf doesn't get caught. In fact, he's moved all the way around. Look at this. Pushing through into Jenny. Position spotted. Rooney with a shot. A Sheriff Demon in the making. We've already seen him work magic with that gun. Flash, re-peeking through. Damage done. A couple of headshots landed, but Sen, they do win it. Josh, look at you. I mean, the look in your eyes there is of concern. Concern.
That would have been quite the way for Cloud9 to pick up another eco. All right. Sen survived that. They're not going to have a great bonus by going into the next, though. They've just got to force. I mean, when you're 11-3 down in this kind of situation, you can't try to inflict economic damage and allow Cloud9 to go up to 12. You just got to buy out and hope you win out. I really want to see what Cloud9 have got in store for us here. I think they've put a large prioritization on ult orb farming, and they're taking a timeout.
Timeout.
They're up 11-3, and it's the 3rd round of the half.
Yeah.
And they're taking a timeout to discuss what they want, presumably, their bonus round strat to look like. But like I said, they're putting a heavy focus. The mad part to me, Bren, is when I watch teams like Fnatic, who have pinned together that core for so long, since they added the massive pieces to that squad over in EMEA, since they added the final bosses, Leo, Chronicle, come into the lineup, they've been working on such small things. Their ult plays, the set plays, the way that they throw their lineups, the ult orb management, the fact that people that need ult orbs farm the eco kills, like all the tiny things in Valorant, Fnatic are at a point that they can really work on those things.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. They've been together for ages. When I'm watching Cloud9, they're doing a lot of similar optimizations. And this is a team that's only been together for a couple of months. And yeah, the core has been together for a bit longer than that, but it's really only Leaf and Zeppa that have had a long tenure. I suppose MCE as well does go quite a way back with these guys. But
even still, I mean,
to me, it's
dead
insane.
impressive. It's dead impressive.
It's ridiculous that they've got their foundation down so quickly that they can work on much more advanced things.
Yeah, just those small little improvements, tweaks to the overall game plan to increase that efficiency. And what's being showcased here by Cloud9 is a lot of contact plays. I mean, there's not too much early utility being used.
But look, ult orb taken by Jake. Now he's 1 away. Leaf, in theory, could play for the ult orb, and he is over at R.
And he's got a Seekers online, so You're seeing it just from that prior round into the Thrifty.
The flank, though, comes through a tree. They're
And
behind them
more fight
already.
to be taken. Yep, Zekken and Sassy together, working in tandem, making sure that they can push them all the way through and back and away, winning out these fights. And the anchor position, Pancada, he does get his one, but eventually traded out, rejoining.
So that's a very good adaptation from Sentinels, and it really punishes that slower style as Cloud9 are picking up the orbs. Well done by them.
No, Jake. They know exactly where he's sitting. At least roughly his position towards Arcade here. There's not too much you can do when there's a smoke in your face. 30 seconds left as well. Just got to wait for them to dissipate, and one player takes contact. I love the movement there to isolate one of the fights. He knew the re-swing was happening there from Canteen, but he just couldn't quite hit the shots.
So that's a push out through A-halls, and they catch Cloud9 picking up the ult orbs. So punishing them for trying to optimize their gameplay like that. By the way, Brent, that's also Zekken's first kill of the series so far. Took him 32 rounds and 11 first deaths.
That's brutal.
To find an opening engagement that he felt favored in. And he really was favored there. I mean, he just shot the players in the back because they outplayed them with the macro. I mean, that's the first time that Sentinels have really felt like they had a read on what Cloud9 were doing.
Where are you?
Danger continues here because no room for error. 11 rounds for Cloud9. They only need 2 to try and finish this series out. And with how dangerous they've been, spoken over and over again about the eco round win rates. What is it, in the high 30%?
32.
32%. About double what other teams are being able to put out. There's a nice little seize into the aftershock.
Great combo.
Nade as well, but the plant still goes down, sacrificing a life for that one. And that means that Cloud9 can play this post plant, and the wash fall. Good clearance there from Bancada, aware.
Out of charges.
Now playing through into the main. Orbital strike, working forwards. That's a very important kill to find. Rooney does trade it out with Zekken falling, but it removes the orbital strike to delay this one. But Rooney's earned his Rolling Thunder. Skips his way across. Player stunned up, doubling up. Still Zelsis alive. And does he have the util? Does he have the time? No one's got to really stick this now to try and hold this marked onto the angle. Needs to win this fight out. Having a defuse. No way. Taken out. And has enough been done? Is it being brought on away? .15.
Brendan, that was an eco round for Cloud9.
And I told you they get dangerous.
They get very dangerous. Wow, that was close. Incredibly well played there towards the end as well by Zelsis, who goes for a wide swing past Marv's position in order to pick up the player on the defuse. And Marv only just manages to recover that one. Wow. They did draw out the Rolling Thunder from Rooney, so that's not going to be an available tool. But it's still many more rounds for Sentinels before the comeback is truly on. I like this proactive play, though. Zekken and Sassy pushing out together, holding hands up towards Dish. That does get Cloud9, does get Sentinels a lot of good info.
They're not going to be in position though to deny this plant. At least for the moment here. Now starting to flood into the position. They can hear that plant as well being triggered, but the longer they take with this, the worse it's going to get. Nightfall, is there an attempt to flood in? Catches, Decay down, Zephyr, he's so damn low, but no kill in sight. The lockdown's going to be used now, pushing them all away. Time being bought. I mean, Leaf was on the ropes there, trying to catch a reflank as well. This is still dangerous though. Cloud9. They've got that orbital strike in the back pocket. I was talking about it earlier and prior. Have to use their util now to clear them out. The molly, though. Time's being bought. The spike's going to start ticking. Lockdown used. And which one do you prioritize? Which one do you break? Onto the ult. That's where they choose to use it. Denies it. Is there going to be half onto this one? It's getting messy. It's getting scrappy. It's getting chaotic. Death pushes forward. So the lockdown. Half on the defuse. And again, Marv locks down the angle. Shuts it down with a wider swing.
Sentinels really asking questions of Cloud9 right now. I think the exchange of ults there was really difficult for Cloud9 to manage. And you saw them take the decision to deny the spike, forced out by the lockdown, and gave tons of space to the Sentinels players. Marv as well with a really nice read. Marv has been incredibly important for them in these situations. Obviously, sticking the defuse with 0.15 seconds left, very, very important. But then also holding the angle, catching the lurker.
And so by a thread, Sentinels hanging on here. The retakes have been very nice, but again, I'll reiterate the exact same point that I said just about earlier here. These eco rounds of Cloud9, they get dangerous, they get scrappy, and Pancada's really starting to get pressured. Rolling Thunder to relieve some of it. It's coming out on the defensive side. Showstopper from Zephyr lets this one rip, and they really want to try and take this tower control. You can see all of this util being expended. Wow, 0 damage. That's a bit crazy. Flash as well to push forward. Pancada, he maintains his hold onto that one area of the map. The rest of Sentinels as well. We've got all that space, but there is an adaptation here. The pivot from Cloud9, they're quick to take up the space into A-Hall. Spike also now starting to make its way over there, but Sentinels, the way this map plays out on Fracture, they get the fast rotates through spawn.
And they've got the read. Zekken still has nade here to deny. They have seized nade, in fact, if they wanted to go for it.
Fault line, buy some time. Common angle, close angle. Prowler doesn't spot it. Fight taken straight to him, and a reload's been gotten off here. There was no trade from Sassy because he was holding his utility.
What a perfect play by Leaf as well, reading the fact that he would catch both players with util in their hands.
And it's falling apart ever so slightly. 3 versus 3. Still that extra element here. Has to be a clearance. Mark turning, twisting this way, that way. And Cloud9 is so good at this. They pick and choose their timings immaculately. Flash round the side. Leaf wins his fight. It's down to Pancada, and he's so low. 42 health. And they just take it. The timing there. Jump spotting around the corner. And the danger lies there.
Match point.
It's another eco for Cloud9. When Zephyr invested in Showstopper at the start of the round, I thought, hello, wait a second. Cloud9 are using a lot of their ults here instead of grouping them up for one big round where they could push themselves to match point. But instead, by virtue of attrition, they just grind down Sentinels because Cloud9 have their chances of winning any of these last 3-4 rounds.
Yeah.
And they finally break through, push themselves to match point. Zekken with an ult. Great to deny, but he's anchoring in tower. No, he's not. He's going crazy deep in the spawn.
I mean, there was a stun off of that, a Haunt as well on the other side, anticipating that it was going to be, you know, of course, a player maybe just anchoring off to the side. That rocket sailed all the way through to the other side of things, and Pancada, well, with him gone, none of that util to push them back. It's a 4v5.
Right here.
And Cloud9 are now getting set up for the slam dunk.
That's such a rough peek by Pancada, man.
Right planet.
Util's late.
Cloud9's most usual response is going to be a tree push, and he was baited by the fact that it didn't come quickly.
And Sentinels are going to get tested here. There's a rolling fund to deny. Time is not a luxury that they have. They have to play this fast. A timing to be taken here. Zekken on the ropes, though. He made a bit of noise, but it wasn't heard in the smoke. Zephyr moving around, pushing forwards. It's a wider swing, but he's low enough that a bit of damage will do it. But still, they need to get on this, and they need to force out that ult. Rolling Thunder still waiting. Finally now, denying it. Molly on top of it as well. Time running short, moving forwards. Kills found, kills claimed. And Sentinels might still have a chance. Aftershock though. Marv's got to stick this to half, and this could be a brutal way to end it. Leaf taking the space, moving forwards and beaming and through 13-6. Not enough room to breathe for Sentinels. An honest attempt at the comeback. Round by round taking it, but not enough room to breathe. And that's a series taken by Cloud9. They are sitting firmly on the top of that throne of North America. They have bested every other North American team in the Americas split.
And even looking further outside of just the battle for NA, this C9 squad looks like they're ahead of everybody apart from Loud. That's the only team that they've lost to so far, and I would love to see a rematch. I really would. It's possible that we'll get that in the playoffs, although by the look of it, that might just be our number 1 and number 2 seeds that sail the way to Tokyo fairly early on. And obviously, there's a lot of the season left to go, and playoffs are a totally different beast. But this team looks so clean.
With the amount of wins that they've shored up, it just looks like they are well on their way to maintaining that top 6. They're going to make playoffs. It's an inevitability.
Yeah.
It's Cloud9 squad, from strength to strength every single week, they've just felt inexorable. You can't deny them.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, from every single part of this Cloud9 squad, that was a masterclass of a game. I think from the very beginning, the ideas that they come into the game with that are given to them from MCE and Cupid, fantastic. Can't speak highly enough about Cupid and the way that he thinks about the game. But on top of that, then the way that the players integrate it and the discipline that they show and the coordination and the way that they've just wholeheartedly taken this challenge of a season and turned it into gold. The smiles are well deserved. beautiful match.
Brilliant showcase from top to bottom. The macro play, the individuality, the coordination. Jerseys piling up as well. Send them flying, why not?
Who's got the best arm?
Yeah, no t-shirt cannon in sight. Going far though.
Leaf's not got a bad arm. Actually, Zeppa's probably chucking them there. Some raw power. Yeah, they'll be converting a few fans around. There was a lot of people in the audience today that were rooting for Sentinels. And it's a sad day for the Sentinels fans. They were certainly hoping for more. But at the same time, you just can't help but love the run that this team has done, that Cloud9 have done. They've overcome all challenges presented to them, grasped every opportunity. Players like Rooney and Jake are just surpassing all expectations, working perfectly within the squad. Rooney is the IGL, carrying forward those ideas from MC and Cooper. It's just, today was a masterclass.
Yeah, it's magic to watch as well. I mean, a strong showcase here. Deeper and deeper as we head into that America split. But listen, let's send it back down to GB and Odessa. Got to break it all down and set us up for that second series of the day. Don't go anywhere.
You know, actually, it makes sense now. I think Sideshow was trying to curse Cloud9 by wearing the same outfit as them, but realized it backfired. You know, so really, I think Sentinels fans should just blame Sideshow. Anyway, moving on though. Jokes aside, I mean that was a rough one for Sentinels, right? And I think like for Cloud9, you couldn't have asked for a better situation, a better play out of the year. Mimi, this is insane that we're talking about C9 being not just a top 3 team in the game, but I would even go as far as to say, you know, like best in Americas right now outside of Loud because they lost to them. That's it.
Okay, best in America's out. That's just second place.
Sure, I didn't want to say second place because that sounds demeaning.
Because best sounds better than saying second place, but
exactly.
It's best and then add an
That's called verbiage, Mimi. Okay,
well,
that's how you wiggle around that.
Thank you for that one. But yeah, Cloud9 now, they've 2-0'd every single other North American team. You can if you want to say something best, they're clearly the best North American team.
There you go. That's what I was going for. That's exactly what I was saying.
It is clear.
Yeah,
it's so clear. I mean, look at them play. Every player on this team has come up so big. Big Bean outperformed Marv, the Iceman, in this game. Bean melts ice.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's simply a fact.
Marv has fiber in.
I mean, the defensive side for them is incredible across both these maps. We were already like bat-chesting about their Lotus defense side, the way that they play around their utility there, but it was the same here on Fraction. Ran the same setup like 5 rounds in a row. Continued to work. Their retakes really, really good. It was just so incredibly dominant. Looked like it was going to be a 30-0.
And the thing that stands out to me here, unfortunately, and I hate to call it out, love the kid, but Zekken had a rough day. And it's not because he like played bad. I think genuinely what happened was they just got completely outstratted, and Zekken being the tip of the spear, which Sideshow had mentioned multiple times, was really just the one who felt the brunt of that the most. Yeah,
they could not find a read. They could not ever find an execute where they were going into a lighter site. On both maps, it seemed like they were either Cloud9 was full giving and playing retake because they knew where the hit were coming, or they had the correct stack and Zekken was double satcheling into utility and Leaf and just died every time. He was so consistently being shut down.
I don't know how you can blame Zekken for that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You kept seeing Cloud9 do this arcade push. Sideshow, and you just mentioned it just now, 5 rounds in a row, they just kept doing a triple arcade push. And then you start to realize, oh, they know the reaction for Sentinels. They know that even if they're not getting direct value at the start of the round with this arcade push, they're going to win in the mid round or the late round because they can predict what's going to happen. It was just an absolute game plan diff today. And again, MCE proving that he might be the best coach in this entire region.
Oh, well, I'm so glad that you mentioned MCE, my friend, because that means we're actually going to be sending it down for a Verizon post-match interview because we have Dryad standing by with the man of the hour, the coach, the big brain. It's MCE. What you got, Dan?
That's right. I'm over here with the big brain MCE from Cloud9 after a 2-0 fashion victory against the North American team of Sentinels. And MCE, the first question that I have for you is a little bit more of what we've seen from Sentinels. Of course, they made recent changes, but now you prove to be and beat every single North American team. Was it a little bit more difficult to prepare for a Sentinels with a smaller sampler size when it comes to the changes that they made recently and only them playing with Marv for that Supper Week last week?
A lot of it, we assumed they were going to do a lot of the same stuff that they did before Marv was there. And then we know how Marv is as a player in terms of taking lurk timings, everything like that. And one of the biggest things was no matter what, when we're rotating, just like gun out, because if you watch them last week, they were just walking into spawn. So like a big part of it was, it doesn't matter what we do, mid-round we want to fight them so they can't get in lurk positions. We want to play fast so they can't get behind us, and then we'll deal with it afterwards.
It has been great. And one of the things that makes you one of the greatest, if not the best coach that we have in North America, is that you are so great at player development. We've seen it for this squad with Rooney and Jake, but we also saw it last year in Challengers. So tell me a little bit about how that goes from that decision-making to bringing those players in to the success that they've found in Americas.
I mean, player development only goes so far. Like, these players were already good to begin with. It's about giving people a chance. And a lot of people, like, that came from the other game we had played, including myself, Zelsis, Leaf, Zeppa, like, they were just as good in the previous game and never got a chance, or they got one chance that wasn't a good chance. So it's like there's certain characteristic traits that you look for, and there's a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 players that would surprise people if they were given the chance, but it's of those guys who doesn't have the ego, who wants to work, who wants to be a part of something, you know, bigger than themselves, and that's what you have to look for.
And it's great to see that you absolutely have an eye for it and for those players. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you as well is emotionally, because we've seen everything that you do with structure, but emotionally, can you tell us a little bit of what kind of coach are you when it comes to rounds, in the overtimes, or even when we get to see the timeouts after very leading performances for Cloud9?
I'm a very emotional coach. I'm an emotional person. Like, somebody once told me I hate losing more than I like winning. And I think that's a pretty accurate representation. So I'm not the cool, calm, collected coach. I'm the guy that's losing my shit, basically, when I'm doing stuff. So I have to try to calm myself down when I talk to them, because I'm pretty upset most of the time watching matches. But I try my best not to let that show too much, and like not harp on, you know, the things that we're messing up too much. More about like, this is what we're doing, this is how we need to fix these things, and then moving on from there.
And my last question for you, and speaking a little bit about emotions, we've seen this Cloud9 squad blow away the minds of the people that didn't even have expectations for them. Now they're definitely in their radar. What has been a moment for you of the squad so far in Americas that has blown your mind as well? It can be a call, it can be a play, something that stays in your mind.
I mean, I think both Leaf and Jordan and the guys, like, there's something each week that they do that I'm like, wow, like, this is some of the best I've seen us play, or like these situations are so perfect that like they're remembering what we're talking about and just executing on, you know, little things. And even then, like, we made a point that our post plants were really bad on Fracture last week, and then today we forgot to do the other part. Like, we were throwing all the post plant stuff, but like we weren't in the right spot. So like they're trying to learn week to week, and I think that's what sticks out to me.
It's just great, and it's so great to see you guys. Thank you so much, MCE, and thank you guys. We're gonna throw it to the Prime Gaming highlights, and we're going back to the desk right after.
The playoff picture is starting to take shape, and it's do or die if you want to make top 6. Cloud9 versus Sentinels is about to go down. For one squad, it's about maintaining your place near the top of the mountain, and for the other one, it's about clawing your way back to the position that you believe and that your fans believe you belong in.
To the choke point, holding these angles, gliding forward to Seekers, they're all blinded up, and they cannot stand a chance.
Let's go, boys. Let's go. Good comms, good every round.
It's all being utilized to try and push them back. Okay, one shot landed, rocket flies forward. No kills to be claimed yet, Zeppa's still holding it. 16 health and a dream, and guess what? They'd manifest. Pit's gonna be falling any moment now, spraying through, laid it down, and my God, it just was not, he didn't know. 13 rounds versus the 4 that Sen picked up, and map 1 is theirs. All it takes is a couple of shots to find their mark, yet wow, lined them all up and beaming them all down. Very close corners fight. Still, White to swing their marks out in the open. No one else to help them, and they've lined them all up. Zeppa drops them all down, 4 kills. Prowler, Satchel, rolling Thunderdome, it's mating them. Stunned dead, all through down. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. 13-6. And that's a series taken by Cloud9. They are sitting firmly on the top of that throne in North America. They have bested every other North American team in the Americas split.